Hi, it's Editing Sherry. I want to start this video by saying if I sound nasally, I'm sorry. My thoughts were definitely scattered in the making of this video, but Benadryl's a hell of a drug. That's all I got to say. The allergies are real. But here we go. It's Sherry with Hecate's Needle. Welcome to my craft room. Today is Thursday, May 7th, 2026. I am here with Flosstube number 74, I believe. Welcome. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I appreciate all of you. We are joined here today by no one. No one's here with me. I'm all alone. The cats are napping in various locations throughout the house, and Luna, the last time I saw her, was engaged in a battle to the death with her octopus plushie in the middle of my bed. So we'll see how that goes. It is a gray, stormy day here, so the lighting may not be fabulous, but hopefully it's okay. It seems to be okay. Anyway, so today I have cross stitch. I haven't been sewing, a little bit of life maybe, and that's about it, but mostly just cross stitch. So it might be a little quicker video today. In any case, let's get started. Cross stitch. Cross stitch, I do have a finish. I have some fully finished items, and then I have some progress. Good progress, I think. We will start with the fully finished items. Now, if you'll recall, I recently finished by Forbidden Fiber Co., where the sunflowers are. This was a mystery kit, but it's all Forbidden Fiber. It's their fabric, their floss, everything. These are not wrinkles, I promise. It's just the modeling of the fabric just looks like a wrinkle. When I framed it, I was like, oh my god, those are wrinkles, but no, they're not. They're not, I promise. But anyway, that's how it turned out. It's lovely. I'm gonna hang it in my bedroom. Now, the next thing I framed, and this one does have wrinkles in it, and I tried my damnedest to get them out. And I even wet down the fabric and everything, and they are not coming out. And you know what? I decided I don't care. We don't do perfection in our house. We do, does it make me happy? That's what we do. And this made me happy. And besides that, it's going to be hung on the wall, like way up close to the ceiling, so I don't think anyone will notice. But my pomegranates, as you can see, big wrinkle going right down the middle. And I did not keep this folded in my project bag while I was working on it. That is the fold from I got this fabric from 123 Stitch. It was a remnant, and when I received it, it was folded in half like this, and I ironed it before I stitched, I ironed it after I stitched, I tried wetting it down, I washed it before I stitched, and that wrinkle's not coming out. It's not. So it's just going to stay there. And I don't care. It just gets that way sometimes. But anyway, it does look nice. I don't know, I might try again to get the wrinkle out. This fabric is pulled tight, so I don't know what else I can do with it, but I may try. We'll see what I can do. But in any case, it is done, and it can go up with my linens that I did before. So those are those two. Now my Vampirum from Noctiflora Designs that I finished earlier. Did I finish it last year or this year? It was either late last year or early this year. But we dropped that one off at Hobby Lobby to be professionally framed. So I should have that in a couple weeks. So hopefully I'll have it before my next video. And then my finish and last fully finished item. Now I have been doing the Spring Meadow Biscorn U Stitch Along by Stitch On Me. I've been working on that one. It is finished. And it is fully finished. So I can mark that one off my list. And here it is. I will say, I don't really care for it. It's not really my aesthetic, I guess. Not necessarily to my taste. Don't get me wrong, I love the idea of the spring meadow, but I don't think the entire meadow needed to go on one little biscorn U. This is very, very busy. And for someone as ADHD as I am, I don't see the separate elements. I just see a big jumble of colors. Now, you know, like, I know that's birds in a birdhouse, okay? I know that's a little frog. I was going to say I know what this is, but no, I'm not exactly certain what the hell this is. Okay, I stitched it, but I don't know. That's a rabbit. I know these elements are on there, but when I look at this, I just see one big jumble of colors. It's too busy. Now, I will say the charts were easy enough to stitch. I think they went overboard with the French knots, which I did not do because, as I explained in a previous video, this fabric is very loosely woven, and no matter how many times I wrapped the thread around the needle, the French knot just slipped right through the hole in the fabric. So I used some leftover Mill Hill beads that I had from kits and used those in place of the French knots. But as you can see, all of these in this border are all supposed to be French knots. These little berries and the pies, those are supposed to be French knots. All of these little dots all over this thing are supposed to be French knots. That's excessive. I don't mind doing French knots, I really don't, but that's excessive. Okay, I'm sorry. I will say, now the pieces were released every other day, so alternating days. After we received the last stitching chart for piece number 16, the following release were the finishing instructions for assembling the biscorn U. And in the email it said, before you attempt to do this biscorn U, please read the instructions below. Well, when you click that link, it just gave you a full chart. No written instructions whatsoever, just a chart. I have made biscornues before, and so therefore I just finished it the way I always do. I pieced it together and stitched it where I thought it should go, and I put the little button in the middle. I didn't put a button on the back because this is supposed to be like a picnic blanket and it would have looked weird. But the little button in the middle is the exact same color as the yellow of the stitching that was in the middle, so I just stuck the button there. Okay, well, a couple days after that email, there was another email, and it said, "Oh, sorry, our mistake. Here are the instructions for finishing your biscornu." Well, when I looked at them, they didn't put anything in the middle. This was just a pillow. It was just a pillow. There was no indentation in the middle at all. It was just a pillow. And they made it a point to say, "Oh, please line up your stitching the way it should be," which I did. The only problem is, if I had lined it up so that these two connected, half the deer's ear would be missing. The stitching was kind of off, and it was like that all the way around. So I know it wasn't just, I didn't have any mistakes stitching this. I double checked, everything lined up fine. But it was the way the chart was done. So I have this flower that's just randomly cut in half here. But it is finished. It's done. It's off my list. I'm not really out anything because everything I used in this was stuff that was in my stash. It was a piece of fabric I already had. The fabric is 14 count Ada Peach Blossom by Forbidden Fiber. I still have a good size piece left that I can fit another small project on, so that's good. The floss was all DMC that I had in my stash. As I said, the little beads I used were leftovers from Mill Hill kits that I had before, and the button was one that I just have in my button stash because I'm a seamstress. So, I mean, I'm not out anything except time, and that's fine. I'll put this on my sewing desk, and it'll be fine. But I probably will not do another stitch along from Stitchonomy after this one, because that was intense. And as I said, it's not, for someone whose brain is as cluttered and defective as mine, something that busy is difficult for me. But anyway, that is done. So those are my fully finished items. Okay, this is gonna be a monogamous May for me. But this is only a week into May. So that week before May started, what I was working on, one of them is in this bag, my little puppy bag, made by me, and it was the Botanical Blackwork from the Steady Thread. This was a stitch along, a free stitch along from 2023, and it is their year-long stitch along. You get one piece released each week for 49 weeks. Well, actually for longer than, well, for the whole year, basically. But there are 49 squares in it. But anyway, when you last saw it, it looked like that. I had completed the top 3 rows of squares, and I had started on the 4th row. I managed to put some more work into it, and it is now here. I have completed the top 4 rows. And it goes down to here. This is the bottom of the frame. But yeah, so I've completed the top 4 rows. There are only 3 rows left. And as I said, it's a grid of 7 by 7. So each row is 7 squares, and I have 3 more left. So I have 21 squares left. So that's not bad. I would estimate it's about 57% done, maybe. So, but I love it. Now this is being stitched on a 14 count Aida. It's just in light blue by Witchelt. Nothing fancy. It was just one I had in my stash. As I said, when I do stitch alongs, I typically do not buy special things for them unless it is a big stitch along, like the Vampirum from Noctiflora, which was like this big, you know, things like that. A piece of fabric that big I typically do not have in my stash. Or if it's a stitch along where they have a special fabric for it that was made specifically for it, like the Noctiflora ones. But this was just a piece I had in my stash. I used all DMC floss. The colors, we have the pink one, and that is number 604. We have the purple one, and that is 333. We have the yellow, which is 444. And then we have the green, which is 505. All pretty colors, but as I said, they're just DMC that I had in my stash. Nothing fancy. But there's the botanical blackwork. The next one I worked on before May is in my little black kitty bag with my little black kitty charm. And this is the 4 Elements by Satsuma Street. This one was also a stitch along, and I do believe it was also from 2023, but I did not do it as a stitch along. I started midway through. But when you last saw it, it looked like that. I managed, before May, I managed to put in 624 stitches, and that puts it at 76% complete. And here it is. And it looks amazing. I love it. I love this project. The colors are so beautiful. Now, as you can see, I'm working on, I've filled in the little rainbow. I'm working on filling in the clouds, and I've also begun on the sun. Because I'm color completing the rest of this. But I think it's beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. The colors are just stunning, and they look amazing on this black fabric. This is all DMC floss. It is just a regular 14 count Aida in black, the Cholt again. Nothing fancy. But as I said, it is currently at 76% done. So I will finish this before the end of the year. And I am so excited. Now the last one I worked on, as you know, it's Monogamous May. And the way I determined what I was going to work on in May this year is I made a list of all of my projects. And what I did was I took in each project, I put what percentage I've gotten complete and how many stitches I have left to complete it. And using that criteria, I determined the 3 projects that I wanted to try and finish this month, because I would love to finish 3 of them. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. The first one is my bee mandala. That one is the closest one to being finished. It is being housed in my kitty cat bag. Now this one is a project by Doreen Jones, and it looks like that. I got this from the World of Cross Stitching magazine, May 2021 edition, but it is available on her Etsy. So you can still buy the pattern without buying the magazine. But when you last saw it, it looked like that. Now, I have managed to put in 650 stitches, which actually puts it at 82% done now. And here it is. It looks so nice. I love it. Now, I've put in these leaves here, and I'm just going around the circle. So I'm doing the frame as I go, and then as I follow the frame, when I get to a motif, I just fill it in. But I put in all of these leaves in this back stitching. I put in the flower, and now I'm working my way up the bee. So I'm working on the final bee. And this is being stitched on a 14 count Aida. It is in the color Frosty, and I believe it is by Witch's Garden Crafts. Let me make sure I'm not lying. Yes, Witch's Garden Crafts Frosty. Now, the demo on in the magazine was stitched all on white, but you couldn't see the bee's wings. And so my husband suggested we do like a sky blue color, and I really like it on this one. But there it is. This one will be finished by the end of the month. I only have 1,544 stitches left, so it will be finished by the end of the month. Now, once I finish that one, I want to work on my flamingos and see if I can finish that one. That's just a Mill Hill kit. It's not large, so I don't see a problem with finishing it by the end of the month. And then after that, I will probably go back to working on the 4 elements and see if I can get that one finished. I don't know if I can get all 3 finished, but I'm going to try. That being said, this week I've not had a lot of time to stitch. I have literally had appointments every day this week. Doctors, dentists, exterminators, haircuts, it's everything. Everything was this week, but this week is done, and so now we can move on. Plus, I'm also trying to train a puppy, so that takes some time and patience as well. But my plans going forward, like I said, I'm going to finish the bee mandala. I am going to try to finish the flamingos, and if I get that one finished as well, I will then work on the 4 elements again to see if I can get that one finished, because those 3 are the ones closest to being finished at this point. I'm sorry about my voice. Allergies are kicking my butt. But anyway, those are my plans. So, I actually have some acquisitions this time. Shocking, I know. Now, I placed an order with 123 Stitch because working on the Mill Hill flamingos for my daughter's bathroom, I decided to go ahead and use the Mill Hill frame, even though I don't like their frames, but it's just easy. It's just easy, and I'm lazy. So they had the Mill Hill frames on sale, which is why I went ahead and got it. If it had been full price, I probably wouldn't have. But since it was on sale, I went ahead and got the little white one. It will match her bathroom. And since I was getting that, I went ahead and picked a pattern off my wish list, and I ordered that as well. And it is the Witchcraft by the Primitive Hair. I love it. I love it. It's so neat. I like the little mandrake here and all of this. I love it. I like the way it looks like almost a page out of an old book. So I ordered that one. The only other thing I got was a set of acrylic floss drops. If I can open the box. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. There we go. But it's a set of 10, and they are little strawberries and flowers. And I thought they were so cute. But I figured it's a little set of 10, and that would probably be good for smaller projects. So I got those. They were like $5 on Amazon. So I went ahead and got them. I guess it's my Mother's Day present to myself. And now that I got it open, I can't get it shut again. That's awesome. Okay. There we go. But that's it for cross stitch. Yeah. So on we go. Sewing. I have not gotten anything sewn. I did not sew anything because puppy. I have been cutting fabric. I've gotten several things cut. But as I said, as far as sitting down at the sewing machine and sewing, I have not had the opportunity at this point. 1, puppy. 2, all the appointments I've had this week. As I've said before, I have the Winnie the Pooh quilt. I have that I need to cut out and stitch up. I've got all the stuff for it. And then I also have the Blossom bag too. The Blossom box bag, that's what it is. I have that kit that I need to stitch up because I'm desperately trying to clean out that crate. I want that crate empty. It's all kits that I had gotten from a subscription that I had for a while. So, well, 2. Some of those kits are from the Sew Sampler subscription from Fat Quarter Shop, and some of them are from the Sewers Club, which is what this one is from. Now the Winnie the Pooh quilt is just, I bought this kit from a quilt shop. This was not part of a subscription, and I bought it specifically to make it for my daughter because she loves all things Winnie the Pooh. But I have those, and then I also have some other garments that I want to cut out and stitch up as well. But that's all I've got for sewing. I've not been shopping for sewing because I have 1 or 2 fabrics. I don't really need any more. I think I have enough for an item or 2. Not to mention all that clutter at the top. Those are pieces of fabric that were too big to go on the shelves. But that's another story. So that's it for sewing. Life is fine. It's fine. We are adjusting to the puppy. Jelly Bean and Luna are fast friends now. He is very happy he has a new puppy. Now, she is not as calm as Artemis was. Now, grant you, Artemis was 10 years old, okay? Luna is 6 months old. It's a big difference. But he still loves his puppy. They are fast friends. As I said, Jelly Bean convinced Luna to make her way into the sewing room, and now she's been coming in here. I spend 90% of my time taking things out of her mouth because puppies. Okay. And this isn't new. I've trained many dogs over the years. I know what I'm doing. It's just to go from a 10-year-old perfectly trained dog to a 6-month-old wiggly bundle of chaos puppy. It's been an adjustment, okay? But she does. She's adorable. She's adorable. She's lovable, and she's really, really. She could be so much worse. I have had so much worse. Um, but it's been an adjustment on mostly my part. And Beagles have much different temperaments and personality traits than pit bulls, which was Artemis. She was a pit mix. So little Miss Beagle out there, she's something, but she's adjusting well. She is. She is housebroken. We have had no accidents in the house, thank goodness, because that's usually the hardest part of training them, or I should say the most disgusting. Sorry, itch. I'm covered in mosquito bites, so I'm over here scratching like I have a disease. But anyway, she's already housebroken. Of course, there's the puppy chewing, but that's every puppy, any puppy, it doesn't matter. And it's just something we have to stay on top of. After having 3 of her crayons eaten, my daughter has just started shutting her bedroom door, which I told her to do to start with. But what does mom know? We have not lost any shoes. She doesn't really chew shoes. Now, she will carry daddy's slipper around the house with her, but she hasn't really chewed it. I keep finding it in her bed, and after the 3rd time of finding it in her bed, I told my husband, you need to put them away, because if she eats them, you're not going to touch her because it's your fault you didn't put them away. And he still hasn't put them away, so it's his fault. But as I said, she doesn't chew it. She just carries it and stashes it in her treasure hoard in her bed. Her bed is full of toys. She sleeps in the cat bed. I have nothing, but she fits, so it's okay. And the cat, and at night she sleeps with us, along with all 3 cats. Our bed's getting kind of full. My husband sleeps clinging to the edge, and I sleep like cattywampus and diagonal, and I don't have a pillow because that's Jelly Bean. It's like, I don't know. Maybe that's why my back hurts all the time. But anyway, we're adjusting to the puppy. And she really isn't bad. She really isn't. I've had much, much worse. But she's not bad. It's just an adjustment. And she absolutely loves to be outside. She absolutely loves to be outside. I don't know why, but she seems to be suicidal. We caught her eating ant poison that my husband had spilled in the garage. Luckily, we called the poison hotline on the back of the bag, and they said, "Oh no, it's not gonna bother her. That brand, that brand is it's not. She'd have to eat the entire bag to actually get sick." So, and she was fine. She was fine. She didn't even, have any tummy troubles or anything after she ate that. And then, apparently, we had a poisonous weed growing in the far back corner of our yard behind the chicken coop that she found, and she started to try and eat that. So I was out there in the rain with a shovel digging that up. She seems to have a suicidal tendency. I don't know. But she's a puppy, so she eats everything except wet dog food. She doesn't like wet dog food. She wants her crunchy kibbles and whatever we're eating. But we don't feed animals from the table, ever. That is a hard and fast rule in my house. If you're giving something to an animal, it goes in their bowl, because I don't like animals begging at the table while I eat. But otherwise, she's been fine, really. I'm gonna set up her first vet visit with our vet so that we can establish her as a new patient, and she's fine. She gets along. Hecate is like yeah, fine, just stay away from me because I'm sure you're filthy, just like the rest of us. Snickers is like, you just a little bit too wiggly for me. I'm just going to stay over here and play with my toy, and you stay over there and play with yours, and we're fine. But leave my toys alone. Oh, and that's another thing. She wants to play with the cat toys, not her toys. So I've had to put the cat toys up where they can get them, but she can't because she keeps chewing them up. And of course, cat toys have a lot of hard plastic, and I don't want her eating it. Again, those suicidal tendencies. But otherwise, she's fine. She's settled in. She's happy. We've been working on leash training her and getting her accustomed to the fact that just because we have you on the leash and we take you out the front door doesn't mean we're giving you away. You will be coming home with us. Okay. So she's not as upset about that anymore. She's actually getting excited for her walks in the evening. I will probably try this weekend to take her in the car again and see if we can do it without her peeing or throwing up in it. I think the reason she did it before is because she was scared. She didn't know what was going on. So, but now she's a little more confident, so I think she'll be okay. But otherwise, that's all that's going on here. We haven't been, away from home a lot because puppy. So until we get her, more trained, I guess, then we'll probably be sticking closer to home. So I just want to end up with saying, again, thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Thank you to everyone who just kind of pops in to see what I'm doing. If you're new and you saw something you like, if you want to get in on the chaos of the zoo that is my life, hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, I will see everyone again in 2 weeks, and I hope you all have a wonderful, amazing weekend, and bye.